Hey, bear with the queer. Let's get right into it. One of the main things I get asked when people see me is, who are you? And then, where do you get off? I'm like, usually on Matt. So I get asked a lot about how the shows went in a weekend. And, oh my God, this weekend, let me tell you. But first, beer. All right. So today we have our last beer from the Stalker series out of Texas, Bitter Sisters Brewing Company, Catfight India Pale Ale. This sister's not bitter, she's just brewed that way. Our American IPA will steal your heart with her perfectly bold responsibility. All right, 6.66% alcohol by volume. That seems on purpose. I'm not saying, you homophobic horn, I'm not saying Ralph is the devil, but he sent me a skull on a can and a 6.66 something. I don't know. What did it say? Alcohol by volume. I just got beer all over me. Where do I come? On my hand, apparently. Spider-Man. All right. I got beer on my camera. Let's try it. Also, if you don't know what a Spider-Man is, it's a sexual technique where when you finish, you know what? Spider-Man, you get it. This is tasty as far as IPAs go. It's not like super hoppy. It's got a mix of maltiness in there. It's got citrus at the top and a little bit fuller flavor on the last half of it. This is tasty, yeah. It's not your typical IPA. It's almost like an unfiltered IPA. So you'll have more rounded flavors on an IPA. That's an IPA that's right up your alley. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So yeah, it is pretty good. Catfight by Bitter Sisters. You know what? I'd recommend it. This is one of the ones I'd recommend. It's pretty good. And pretty good for me is like, great. Anyway, how was your weekend, Jeff? Thanks for asking, Internet. I did 3 shows, and let's go through them. Friday, I go to a show. All 3 shows I'm with my dearest of friends, Helen Keeney, who will be a guest on the show soon. We are loving liberals, as we do. And here is our story. We go Friday to Beverly Hills. And I know what you're saying. Beverly Hills, you've made it, Jeff. Did you meet a real housewife? And I'm going to tell you it's not that Beverly Hills. It's Beverly Hills, Florida. What I have to say about that is, if there's a God, there's a devil. If there's a Beverly Hills, California, there's a Beverly Hills, Florida. That's the analogy. If you got anything in the SATs, you probably figured that one out. It is the antithesis of what you might think. We did it at a wine bar. And Friday night was a fun time. It was an older crowd, conservative crowd. Did they love my jokes? No. Did they laugh at them? Yes. Did they need 4 minutes of me talking about LBJ's 10-inch penis he nicknamed Jumbo? Probably not. Did some of them remember it from when they were younger? Definitely. Okay show, fun show. Helen did amazing. They loved her. Check, please. It's going to be a good weekend. The next night we went to Crystal River. Crystal River. And I know what you're thinking, Crystal, that's fancy, and yet not. Crystal River is where you can go see manatees. Why are manatees there? And I mean the animal, not the fat ladies that you see. Why are manatees there? Because there's a power plant that warms up the water like a gentleman peeing in it, just that nice lukewarm, and that's what manatees love. We saw a manatee while we were there. It was farting a lot. Just little turbo boosters moving it along. That's what happens, like a submarine with a hole stuck in it. Just bubbles coming out all the time. And then we did a show Saturday night at another wine bar, a little bit different. It was supposed to be outside, got moved inside. What was the crowd like? The same? No. It was younger conservatives. And we did a show for them, and they paid attention. I think that's the best thing I got from them, was them paying attention. Were some of them happy I was there? No. Did they disguise it? Also, no. But they kind of were quiet for most of my set, and that was, for me, a win. And then Helen gave them amazing comedy, and they gave her looks back, and just random shout-outs like, I'm a grandfather, when somebody was 47 years old, and I eat manatees. You know, things non sequiturs that don't make any sense to what we're talking about. Were there standing ovations in those shows? Not necessarily. Were there sitting people on mushrooms? Yes, 20% of the audience on mushrooms, apparently. Good job, Crystal River. And then that was Saturday. Sunday, we got excited because we were back in St. Pete, Florida for a show at a gay bar. I won't name it, but, you know, you can look it up in the past post I have. But we thought, liberals, they love us. Let's do it. Or so we thought. Picture it. It's Sunday night. A smattering of people are at this restaurant. 80% of the audience is gay. 80% of 8 people is not that many people. It was a little bit more than 8. Okay. How did the show go, you say? I had them paying attention. They listened for the most part. Some lesbians chatted who were sitting right up front, but they had things to say to each other, right? Like, what should we name the cat? Etc. What nonfiction should I read next? Other things lesbians talk about. And then I brought the hilarious Steve Miller, Jeff Klein, coming to a podcast near you soon, straight to gay. And Steve did his job. Did I mention there was a child? I know the earpiece is going in and out. I don't know what's happening with that. Did I mention there was a child in a room? Yes, because I thought there was a 14 to 15-year-old person in the room. That's what I thought. While Steve was doing his jokes on stage, did that person's friend that they were with stand up and exclaim, "There's not a child in the room"? It was a lady, and they weren't from an Elizabethan play, but that's how I'm going to portray it. There's not a child in the room. This is a human and should be treated as such. I find out later that the human they were talking about is an 18-year-old deaf girl who can only hear vowels, and that's unique. So they got upset and left. And first of all, everybody on the show was over 40. So guess what, 18-year-old? You're a friggin' child. So they left. No worries. They paid their bill. They still got charged for the show. Shortly after that, the very drunk lady in the back who had been playing kickball that day decided to vomit and pass out. So as Steve was doing his closer, the paramedics were coming to rescue somebody. And that dichotomy was dykelicious. That was just a bad. I couldn't figure out how to get. Anyway, hilarious. Steve finished his set, got off. I vamped for 10 to 15 minutes because I did not want to bring our headliner up to paramedics taking somebody away. I feel like it's a bad way to start a set. So after the paramedics cleared the mess, by the way, they survived, okay? They're doing well. They survived. Their friends assured me. Also, ironically, why are you taking somebody away from the situation when laughter's supposed to be the best medicine? Who's the doctor now, EMT? Headliner comes up. Helen is ready to dazzle. Lesbians get annoyed at her being straight or something, and then they go away and angry compliment me. You're amazing. And I was like, why are you yelling at me compliments? And then random people walk in and start playing the piano while Helen is doing comedy. Other people stop on the street. Other people come in from the street, walk up to the stage, say, I know you. Was it a good night? No. Was it a funny night? In like a Wes Anderson way. Does that make sense?